That's right, this video contains scholarships for high school students with awards in excess of $100,000. And that doesn't even include the value of the additional resources and the networks that are part of winning these scholarships. Winning even just one of these large scholarships will make a huge impact on your ability to pay for college without student loans. And because their due dates are spread out all through the semester, you can actually apply for all of them. I'm going to be going through the actual scholarship websites with you so that you know exactly what you need to do and when. Many of these scholarships have multiple rounds, so knowing just when to get the first round done and what you have to do to get started is important, but you also want to know what to expect next. And I include a little bonus at the end of another way that you can make some money for college, so if you qualify for that, definitely stay till the end. Let's get started. Hey guys, it's Thomas, and today we're talking about the Gates Scholarship. So if you're a minority and you want to go to college without paying for college, then this one's for you. Let's get started. So this is the Gates Scholarship. It was launched in 2017 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So how much is the scholarship? This scholarship was what is called a last dollar scholarship. That means that this scholarship will cover everything left that you owe your school after your other financial aid and your EFC, which is your estimated family contribution determined by the FAFSA. So when is it due? Well, phase 1 is open currently. As you can see, it opened on July 15th and it is due on September 15th. If you make it out of phase 1 and into phase 2, which is the semi-finalist round, that will open in December and close in January. And if you get through the semi-final round into the finalist round, then finalist interviews will occur in March. They will select the awards in April and you will receive them somewhere between July and September of next year. So who can apply? In order to be eligible, you must be a high school senior from at least one of the following ethnicities: African American, American Indian, Alaska Native, Asian and Pacific Islander American, and or Hispanic American. You must be Pell eligible, a U.S. citizen, national or permanent resident, and you have to be in good academic standing with a minimum cumulative weighted GPA of 3.3 on a 4.0 scale. And in addition to that, you do have to plan to enroll full-time in a 4-year degree program at a U.S. accredited, not-for-profit, private or public college or university. They do specify here that 99% of all Pell eligible students came from households with incomes of $80,000 or less per year. So if your family makes above $80,000, you might not be eligible for this one. But make sure you watch that video to find out for sure. And you can click here for a resource by the federal government to figure out again if you're Pell eligible. So now you know how much, when it's due, and who can apply. So now what do you need to do? Well, first you need to go to their website and click Apply Now. That will take you to this page which says to create an account. Welcome to My TGS, which is the Gates Scholarship. Sign up or sign in to connect to, and then this is basically what you're signing up for: a TGS profile, the Gates Scholarship team, learn about the future, etc., etc. So if you already have an account, then you can do that. If not, this is where you will create one with this information. Once you create your account, this first round is basically just a questionnaire, gathering information, grades, transcripts, that kind of stuff to basically see where you rank compared to the other students. They give out 300 of these a year, so they use the phase 1 to rank everybody to set up their semi-finalist round. The semi-finalist round is where you will actually submit essays, and then if you get through the essay portion, then the finalist round is interviews. So how do you know if you've won? Well, again, here, looking at the timeline, in July the applications open, September is when the deadline is for phase 1, December is when the semi-finalists are announced, phase 2 opens, January 15th is the deadline for phase 2, the finalists will be announced on March 1st, and then you have the month of March to do your interviews, and the winners are announced on April 20th. Again, the awards will actually be dispersed in the fall. And it's important to know that the Gates Scholarship is not just money, it's actually a whole lot more. Check this out. The MyTGS portal is for everything related to the Gates Scholarship. It includes the application, but if you're selected as a scholar, all the associated support services, such as mentoring, academic support, career and internship guidance, advice and opportunities, financial literacy, and more for the life of the scholarship. So you're not just getting the money each year to attend school, but you have a whole support system and network that exists to help you through college. So this is a really awesome opportunity, well beyond simply getting some money. Here's a list of things that you will need for the scholarship at different points: a copy of your most recent transcript, student aid report once your FAFSA has been completed, your financial aid letter, letter of admission to a 4-year bachelor's degree program at a not not-for-profit, private or public university, a headshot, and a resume. And if you do get to the finalist round, they try to do the interviews in person, but sometimes they will do online virtual interviews if you're not within a reasonable distance. If you do a face-to-face interview, then you are responsible for your transportation costs. And another important thing to understand is that this scholarship will actually be renewable for up to 5 years to complete your bachelor's program. Most scholarships only renew for up to 4. This is one more thing that sets this scholarship apart. And what happens to the money? The money will go straight to your college or university. And another cool thing is that it can be applied to study abroad opportunities with some specific requirements. You must remain enrolled at your US accredited home university, your program occurs during the normal academic year, and you will receive US college credit towards your degree. But if it meets those criteria, you can use this money for a study abroad opportunity, which again is really awesome. And if you win, you do need to make sure that you do everything each year so that you can renew the scholarship so the money keeps coming. Here's that list. You must complete the FAFSA, you must fill out a renewal form with your current transcript, and submit enrollment verification forms. So go to their website, click apply now, and get started today. And don't forget to download my free scholarship prep bundle linked in the description. You'll get how to write a killer essay, get a great letter of recommendation, create a standout resume, and how to organize scholarships. This resource was created by me for the sole purpose of helping you to win more scholarships. So don't miss out and get your free download right now. Moving on. I'm sure you've heard of the National Merit Scholarship Program, but you might not know exactly how it works. I already read through all the boring stuff so that you don't have to. Let's get started. All right, so the first question here is who's offering the scholarship? This is actually a more complicated question than it seems because the scholarship is being run by the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. However, the actual scholarships awarded are not all from the National Merit Scholarship Corporation, and we'll get into that in a second. This is the National Merit Scholarship Student Guide, which gives us everything we need to know about the scholarship, but you're not going to want to have to read every single thing in here, so I'm going to distill it down to just what you need to know. So back to the first question of who's offering the scholarship. In addition to the National Merit $2,500 scholarship, there's a corporate-sponsored merit scholarship, corporate-sponsored special scholarships, and college-sponsored merit scholarships. So not all the money is coming from the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. Some of it's coming from other companies and some of it is coming from individual colleges and universities, but the National Merit Scholarship Corporation is who is running the scholarship, determining eligibility that those other people will give you money for. And as you can see here, there's a total of 8,700 scholarships that will be awarded. So to address the question of how much, some people will get a one-time payment of $2,500, some people will get a one-time payment of $2,500 to $5,000, or they may get a renewable scholarship from $1,000 to $10,000 per year, or your individual college may give you from $500 to $2,000 stipend per year. So when is the scholarship due? This again can kind of be a confusing question because you're not actually applying for the scholarship on a due date. You're taking a test to determine eligibility for the program, but you automatically get put into the program when you take the test. And that test is the PSAT NMSQT, and you will take that in October 2020. What does that mean? It means the preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. There are other versions of the PSAT, so make sure if you want to be considered, you have to take the PSAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test specifically. And you will take this October of your junior year of high school. So what are the eligibility requirements? You must meet all of these requirements. You have to be enrolled as a high school student. This can be traditional or homeschooled, which is nice, with plans to graduate on time. Attend high school in the United States, District of Columbia, or U.S. Commonwealths and Territories, or meet the citizenship requirements for students attending high school outside the United States. And again, you have to take the PSAT NMSQT in the specified year. So we're going to take the next few questions kind of all together, which are what do you need to do, how is it judged, and how do you know if you win? So we've already said one thing you need to do is to take the test, and that will happen in October of your junior year. There will be about 1.5 million that end up being entered into the contest. There will be 50,000 high-scoring participants who are considered for program recognition. Now that 50,000 is going to get broken into two groups. There will be 34,000 commended students and only 16,000 semifinalists. Now the commended students will no longer continue in the National Merit Scholar process. However, they may still qualify for what is called a special scholarship. Those are offered by corporate and business sponsors. So we'll get to that in a second. Now, if you're one of the 16,000 semifinalists, they will notify you through your school, and this will happen in early September of the next year. If you become a semifinalist, then there will be additional paperwork that you need to fill out to apply to become a finalist. Of the 16,000 semifinalists, 15,000 will become finalists, and you will be notified in February of your senior year. All of the National Merit Scholarship Awards will come from this group of 15,000 finalists. However, not everybody who's a finalist will win an award. There will be 7,600 merit scholarships awarded, and you will start to find out if you were a recipient of one of these scholarships in March of your senior year. And of those, you could win a National Merit $2,500 scholarship, a corporate-sponsored scholarship, or a college-sponsored scholarship. Now remember I said if you were just a commended student, one of the 34,000, then you still qualify for special scholarships. And there are 1,100 special scholarships awarded. In November of your senior year, you will start to get the application notifications if you were eligible for one of these scholarships. And if after you submit the additional application materials you are a winner, you will also find out in March of your senior year. So as you can tell, it's kind of a long process. The process begins in October of your junior year by taking the test. Then you don't even find out if you're a finalist or a semifinalist or commended until September of the next year. Then you might receive additional application materials that you need to submit, and you won't actually find out if you've won until starting earliest March of your senior year. But it's definitely worth your time. So as a semifinalist, in order to become a finalist, here's what you need to do. You still have to meet everything that they've already said. You need to be in your last year of high school and planning to enroll full-time in college the next year. You have to be fully endorsed for finalist standing by your principal. You must have a record of high academic performance in all grades 9 through 12 and in any college coursework taken. You must complete the National Merit Scholarship application. You then have to take the actual SAT or ACT and earn scores that confirm the PSAT and MSQT performance that resulted in semifinalist standing. Basically, they're saying you can't have done really well on the PSAT but then do really bad on the actual SAT. That's going to raise some red flags. And provide any other documents they ask for. Some of the criteria they use in order to determine your finalist status include your academic record, course load and difficulty level, depth and breadth of subjects studied, and your grades that you earn. Obviously your PSAT score and your student's essay. The essay comes as part of the additional application material that you receive if you were a semifinalist. One thing to make note of is for the National Merit Scholarship, the $2,500 scholarship from the actual corporation, they're actually awarded by state. You're competing with other finalists in your state for the $2,500 scholarship. Again, going back to the chart with all the scholarships that are offered, for the National Merit $2,500 scholarship, all finalists compete with other finalists in their state or other selection units. For the corporate-sponsored merit scholarships and corporate-sponsored special scholarships, you have to meet this specific criteria. For the college-sponsored merit scholarships, you have to plan to attend a sponsored college, and you have to have informed the National Merit Scholarship Corporation that the sponsored college is your first choice. This is who will select the winners, and we already talked about the monetary values. Remember, this is when you'll know that you'll win. Late March, early March, early March, early May for the college one. So in terms of the actual scholarship sponsors, approximately 400 independent organizations and institutions sponsor more than 2/3 of the National Merit Scholarships offered each year. All special scholarships are sponsored by business organizations that also support merit scholarship awards. And the awards will be sent directly to the financial aid department of the college or university that you attend. So because of the competition of this award, but also the high levels of potential scholarships you could win, it might be worth taking a look at the PSAT and MSQT student guide. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And if you're finding value in this video, go and smash that like button. Of course, I have to remind you about the Ultimate Scholarship Book. It has over 1.5 million scholarships, grants, and prizes inside. And they're indexed by career goal, major, academics, public service, athletics, talent, religion, ethnicity, and more. And each entry includes all the information that you need to actually complete the application process. They even include information on how to conduct the most effective search, write a winning application, and avoid scams. So click the link in the description and get your copy today to win even more scholarships and more money for college. Moving on, and we're moving on. Scholarships are often considered first for paying for college, and this video is going to talk about one of the largest scholarships offered by the Coca-Cola Foundation. In just a few short minutes, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to be entered to win $20,000 for college. Here we go! So like we said, this video is being offered by the Coca-Cola Scholarship Foundation. They support more than 1,400 exceptional college students each year. According to their website, 150 Coca-Cola scholars are selected each year to receive the $20,000 scholarship. So when is it due? The application will be open until October 31st, 2021. So can you apply? Well, the applicant must be a current high school student attending a school in the United States who will graduate this year. A U.S. citizen, U.S. national, or U.S. permanent resident, refugee asylum, Cuban Haitian entrants, humanitarian parolees based on the guidelines by the U.S. Department of Education for federal financial aid eligibility. Expecting to receive a high school diploma during the current academic year, planning to pursue a degree at accredited U.S. post-secondary institution, and able to verify an overall B or 3.0 GPA in high school coursework. And you are not eligible if you are a child or a grandchild of a current employee, officer, or owner of Coca-Cola, children or grandchildren of former employees or officers, you're an international student, a high school graduate, or a temporary resident. So what do you need to do in order to win this Coca-Cola scholarship? Well, the first thing you need to do is set up an online account. So you're going to go to High School Seniors Apply here at the top of the webpage, click on that, and that will take you to this page here. And as we scroll down, it tells us what the different phases are. Now, if you don't have an account already, you will have to sign up. So just an email and set up a password, and that will take you to this page. So phase 1 here is August 1st through October 31st. It is comprised of this online application. Now, it's important to know that this is not a needs-based scholarship. It is a merit-based scholarship. So it's based on your academic achievements, maybe extracurriculars, letters of recommendation, things like that. So they will ask for financial information, but it's strictly for reporting purposes, and it's not to determine the needs base of the applicants. Now, phase 2 is from November to December. A selection of applicants will be named semifinalists and invited to complete a more detailed application with essays, a recommendation, and a current transcript. So none of that will be needed for this stage, stage 1 of the application. That's only if you get into the semifinal round. Phase 3 will be late January to February, and approximately 250 semifinalists will advance as regional finalists and invited to participate in a February interview with a small committee of Coke scholars and CCSF staff. So there is an interview component, but again, that's if you get all the way to the finalist stage. And in March, 150 Coca-Cola scholars will be named. So you will find out in March if you are one of the winners. So you will need to go here to create a profile and get started on the online application of phase 1. If you win, the money will be sent directly to your school. And if you have any further questions, you can scroll all the way to the bottom of their website and go right here to the FAQ section. The frequently asked questions have questions about application questions, and you can scroll down here to get general questions about the scholarship. And if you have even more questions that aren't answered in the FAQ section, you can go here and send them an email directly. And just before we get to our last scholarship, I did want to highlight that while these are very large scholarships and will make a huge difference for you for paying for college, they also come with a very high competition. And many of them actually include more than strictly academic performance in how they decide who wins. But I would say it's important to go into some of these scholarships with realistic expectations. By all means, throw your name in the hat, but if you know that you're probably not a good candidate, I wouldn't focus all of your scholarship time on these scholarships specifically. Now, I don't know you, you know you, so if you're a stellar standout student and you think you have a really great shot, then by all means, spend a little bit more time focusing specifically on some of these big scholarship awards. However, for those of you that might not be, top of your class academics or superstars in any particular field, still apply for this scholarship because you could win, but I would focus time also on the lower dollar amount and mid-range dollar amount scholarships, and don't spend all your time focusing on these big scholarships, and certainly don't only apply for these big scholarships. You need to have a strategy that includes applying for middle range and low range. And low range, I mean like $1,000 and under. Mid-range is like $1,000 to $5,000, maybe, even more than that. But then once you get above that, these are big ticket scholarships and a lot of people are applying. But again, the first round of most of these scholarships is just kind of questionnaire and basic information to get you through to the next round. So, definitely apply for the first round. If you don't get into the semifinal round, then don't worry about it. You did your best, you tried, and then move on, try for another scholarship. I will say that typically in the future, regrets come from things that you didn't do, not from things that you did do, or at least they're a lot worse when you're wondering what could have happened if you had done something. So this is one of those times where it's probably a good idea to apply, even if you don't win, because you know that you tried. And as opposed to being in college a few years later and just being like, man, I wonder if I could have won that scholarship if I had tried. So apply, and if you win, great, and if you don't win, at least you know that you tried. All right, and moving right along. If you're looking to win some big money for college, then look no further than the Elks Most Valuable Student Award. Some interesting facts about this scholarship is that males and females actually compete separately. Therefore, there will be 2 top prizes of $50,000, also 2 prizes of $40,000, 2 prizes of $30,000, 14 prizes of $20,000, and the remaining 480 runner-up scholarship winners will receive $4,000. That's right, 500 students will win this scholarship award. And it's important to know that these are renewable scholarships. That means that you will win between $1,000 up to $12,500 every year for 4 years. So overall, this scholarship program just this year alone is going to award over $2.4 million. That is some huge money, so let's not waste any more time and get into the details you need to know so that you can win. Let's get started. Okay, so we already know that this is being offered by the Elks National Scholarship Program. But who are the Elks? The Elks organization sets up elk lodges in communities throughout the country. They invest in those communities by setting up programs. And those programs benefit children, veterans, and other members of the community. So the Most Valuable Student Scholarship Program is one way that they do that by helping the community, helping students pay for college. So if we go to their website, we can see right here at the top, it says that the 2022 application is open. Here's how applications will be judged and the eligibility. So in order to be eligible for this scholarship program, you must be a senior in high school or the equivalent, and you must be a citizen of the United States. Applicants do not need to be related to a member of the Elks. If you are already a graduate of high school, then you're not eligible to apply. And they clarify that permanent legal resident status does not qualify. Now, if we scroll down here, they talk about the actual application. So when is it due? It's going to be due on November 15th. And as we already talked about, they will award 500 4-year scholarships. The male and female students compete separately, which we already talked about. And again, because they're renewable, the awards will be between $1,000 up to $12,500 per year for the top awards. You do have to be pursuing a 4-year degree and on a full-time basis, which they clarify means at least 12 semester hours. Now, they do say that the Chicago office is who will send out the final notice of who actually wins the 500 awards, and that will happen in late April of 2022. Now, it's important to understand that there are also sort of local and regional elk scholarships that you could be eligible for as part of this application process. They clarify that right here, where they say, many local lodges, districts, and state elk associations award their own scholarships through this program. So these scholarships are not to be confused with the 500 Elks National Foundation Most Valuable Student Scholarships. So you could be eligible for even other scholarships through the Elk program beyond the 500 awards that are going to come from the national office. And in addition to the money, the 20 top finalists traditionally participate in an all-expenses-paid leadership weekend in Chicago, during which you'll interview with the national judges. It's these top 20 finalists going and being interviewed at this weekend. That's how they're going to determine who gets the top awards, the $50,000, $40,000, $30,000, and the 14 people that get the $20,000 awards. Now, they do also want to clarify, and I believe this is coronavirus related, but they say that the plan to come together in person is tentative. However, participation in either an in-person or virtual leadership weekend is required to be eligible for the top awards. So they may end up moving virtual, but they're saying you have to either do it in person or virtual. You can't just skip the whole process if you want to be eligible for those top 20 awards. So if you want to be entered into the contest, then let's click Apply Now. Boop! And that takes us to this page where you can set up an account and log in. Now, once you log in, that's where you'll be able to fill out the online application. Now, when filling out the application online, it's important to be able to make sure your application is complete. So, how do we do that? They say allow 5 to 7 business days after uploading documents for your online status to update. You may monitor your status of your application on your home page. The items you have to submit for this scholarship will have different statuses attached to them, whether or not they're complete. So they will either be started, complete, not received, not started, requested, processing, rejected, or accepted. They clarify that it is the responsibility of the applicant to monitor the process of all application requirements to make sure the application is complete. The status complete will display on the homepage when all forms have been submitted and all documents have been verified. So make sure that it says complete on the homepage, or there's something that you either haven't finished or that you need to submit still. So how is all of this evaluated? How do they determine the winners? Well, there will be an independent selection committee that will evaluate the applications and select the recipients considering leadership, academic achievements and records, community involvement, and financial need. So those are the things you're going to want to highlight in the documents that you have to submit. So they are asking for your financial information. So the question is this a needs-based scholarship? They say no, there is not a minimum income required in order to apply, and there's not a maximum income that they would not consider. They clarify here that it counts towards the total number of points an applicant can receive. And they do clarify, should you reach the quarterfinal level of the competition, you'll be required to upload your FAFSA student aid report. So another reason why you need to file the FAFSA, which we talk about in a ton of our videos. File your FAFSA. So what are all the different levels and the different steps in the process to winning those top awards? Well, the first step again is filling out this online application. It says applications must advance through local, district, and state levels to reach the national competition. We talked about earlier that when you're going through this process, you could win a state or a local award, a scholarship separate from the national award. So you might get scholarships even at the local and state level just for applying to the scholarship, even if you never get to the national level. Now it says a student can apply for but cannot accept more than one Elks National Foundation scholarship or grant in any one academic year. Legacy awards and emergency education grants are the other scholarships offered by the ENF. So you can apply for other scholarships from the national level in addition to this Most Valuable Student Award, but you can't accept more than one of them if you were eligible. So if you do advance past this initial level and get to the national level, then in January, quarterfinalists are required to upload their transcripts and their FAFSA documents. The 500 national semifinalists will be notified early March. The national semifinalists are required to submit an updated application information along with an essay and a teacher's evaluation. And then the top 20 national finalists will be selected to attend a mandatory leadership weekend with an interview component in Chicago, April 7th through 10th. And again, we talked about this could be a virtual event depending on, the situation next year. We kind of don't know what it's going to be like. So again, start by filling out the online application. Then they'll let you know in January if you need to send in a transcript and FAFSA information. After that, they will let you know if you need to have an essay. Then they'll let you know if you qualify for the interview round. So don't worry about all the next rounds. Just focus on the first round. Focus on setting up that online account, fill out the online application, get everything started. And a bonus if you are not a good test taker. No, you do not have to take the SAT or the ACT to qualify for this scholarship. So fill out this online application today and get the ball rolling so that you can be eligible to win up to $50,000 for scholarships for college from the Elks National Foundation. Now that was a ton of money available for scholarships, but remember I said there was a bonus? This is actually a grant from the federal government based on your financial needs. So even if you don't qualify or you don't necessarily feel like you have the merit to win some of these big scholarships, if you have the financial need, you can still get some of these grants from the federal government. So here's what you need to know in order to be qualified for the Pell Grant. And if you've been getting value out of this video, please tap that like button. Well, what is the federal Pell Grant? It is free money for students of low-income families. The federal Pell Grant is not a loan. It does not have to be paid back. So who offers the Pell Grant? That would be the federal government. How much can you get? The maximum annual contribution for 2021 is $6,495, but you need to have a high financial need to qualify. But how is financial eligibility even determined? This is based on your EFC, which is your estimated family contribution that is determined by your FAFSA. If you have a lower EFC, then you will qualify for more Pell Grant money. If you have a higher EFC, you will qualify for less Pell Grant money. So what is the EFC? It's a calculation based on the financial data that you provide on your FAFSA. Families with a lower household income will have a lower EFC. Families with a higher household income have a higher EFC, the estimated amount that your family can contribute. The Gates Scholarship posted that 99% of all Pell eligible students came from households with incomes of $80,000 or less per year. So that can be a good estimate of whether you can expect to be Pell eligible or not. So if you have a low EFC, specifically under $5,847, then you will qualify for some amount of Pell Grant money. But the lower that EFC, the more Pell Grant money you will qualify for. When is it due? Well, there's not necessarily a due date, but there is an earliest date, which is October 1st. You can file the FAFSA, and the FAFSA will determine whether you're Pell eligible. Beyond that, you don't have to do anything. You're simply eligible to receive the funds, and that money will be included on your financial aid letter that you receive from the college of your choice. So who can apply? Well, the application is basically the FAFSA, so you have to be a U.S. citizen. And in this case, to be eligible for a Pell Grant, it is usually applied for an undergraduate student, although there is an exception for a teaching certificate beyond a bachelor's degree. What do you need to do? Just file the FAFSA. It's all part of that process. The maximum federal Pell Grant award is $6,495 for the 2021-22 award year. How much you get depends on your expected family contribution, the cost of attendance determined by your school, your status as a full-time or part-time student, and your plans to attend school for a full academic year or less. Now, you can actually receive up to 150% of the total year annual contribution. You do that basically by attending summer classes. Then you will receive half of the amount in the fall, half of the amount in the spring, and another half in the summer. I know that doesn't make sense, but that's 3 halves, but that's that's because you're getting 150%. You can't receive the Pell Grant for more than 12 terms, but those terms are referred to as those sort of semesters, including the summer. So for a 4-year bachelor's degree, if you were to attend the fall, the spring, and the summer, that's 3 different terms in a year, and you did that for 4 years, 3 times 4 is 12. You could use it every term and earn a 4-year degree. Now, if you're just attending during the fall and the spring, then this could last for up to 6 years because 2 terms a year times 6 is 12. So however you use it, just know that you can't use it beyond 12 terms. If your parent or guardian was a member of the U.S. Armed Forces and died as a result of military service performed in Iraq or Afghanistan after the events of 9/11, or a public safety officer and died as a result of active service in the line of duty, then you may be eligible for additional federal Pell funds if at the time of your parents' or guardian's death you were less than 24 years old and you were enrolled in college or career school at least part-time. And if your EFC is too high and you don't qualify for the Pell Grant and you meet these requirements, then maybe you'll be able to apply for the Iraq and Afghanistan Service Grant. So what happens to the money? The money will be sent to your school and then you can apply them to your school costs, or they'll pay you directly, or some combinations of these methods. If you received a lot of other scholarships and financial aid to the point where all your costs of college were actually already covered, you still receive the Pell Grant, so that money then just gets paid directly to you to be used however you like. And in order to remain eligible, it's important that you maintain enrollment at an undergraduate course of study at a non-foreign school to receive the federal Pell Grant. And you'll have to fill out the FAFSA form every year. Be aware that there are certain circumstances where you may have to repay this Pell Grant. You might have to repay all or part of your federal grant if you withdrew early from the program for which the grant was actually given to you. Your enrollment status changes, so if you went from, say, full-time to part-time during the year, you received outside scholarships or grants that reduced your need for the federal student aid, or you received a Teach Grant but did not meet the requirements for your Teach Grant service obligations. Try to avoid any of those circumstances so you don't find yourself having to pay the government back. So go fill out the FAFSA today, and if you are eligible, you will receive this Pell Grant money. And I'll put a link to this page so that you can go on and actually get an estimate of your eligibility for federal student aid. So go ahead and get started today. And if in addition to finding scholarships like this, you actually want to have a better chance of winning them, then definitely check out this video here for ways to win scholarships, or you can head to my playlist here and look at all the content I have on paying for college. Seriously, go ahead and click. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.